Okay, hello everyone. This is the third and final video. In this video I'm going to run through the easiest part of creating an animated GIF, which is just taking captured video and importing it into Photoshop and making a looping animation using it. And so I have Photoshop open here, and I've already prepared a video which I have here, which I'll show you. So this is a video by Matt Pike, a really interesting designer from the UK, which I just grabbed from something I had in my files, and this was grabbed from the screen, just giving you some, in case I'm not sure what you do for taking video from the screen. I'll just tell you how I do that, which I always share with the students. I use an app called Voila, which is a fantastic Mac app for screen capturing from a small part of the screen or full screen, and capturing video and audio. And I downloaded this for free some time ago. I think it's like $5 now, but it's really great, really useful. And if I'm going to capture, say if there's something on a website that I want to capture, I can just go to, here I have here's my website. Let's say I want to capture this video. I would just go up to record, make a selection, select the video, and record. And so a very, very easy way to capture video from the internet and from any number of different sources, and images too. So I normally show that tool to students. Obviously there are screen capture tools. Let me just cancel that. Screen capture tools that come with the Macintosh computer. In fact, I'm using QuickTime right now to do this recording, this screen recording for you, but I tend to find that Voila and to be much more adaptable, much more flexible than the other tools, the Mac tools that are available. So that's how I grab video. That's the first tool I wanted to kind of run by you before in this process. So the other tool I use, so this is a piece of raw video, and as you can see it's 960 pixels by 720 pixels, which obviously is not the correct size for the purposes of making this animated GIF, because we're working at 480 by 360. So I can open this in QuickTime, like so. If I go to QuickTime, I can open this, and I can go to File, and export this to 480p or 480 pixels, which I've already done here. But again, that doesn't quite get me to where I want to get to, because it gives me a 480 pixels high, 640 pixels wide. So it makes the video, it reduces the size of the video, but not to the exact pixel dimensions I need to work with my animated GIF. So I also use another small app, which is a free app called iSquint. Which is incredibly simple. I just grab, this is my original video here, which is 960 by 720. I can just drop it into iSquint and select, my pixel dimensions here, 480 by 360, and then it'll convert that into those exact pixel dimensions for me. This is a free application which you can get from here, isquint.en.softtonic.com/Mac. It's a great tool, and again, in the process of talking through this with students, I would certainly show them these tools, because they're much more flexible than the more default tools that you might come with a Macintosh. And I use this all the time. Actually, it's really useful. Okay, so back to Photoshop. So I have my video converted into to the correct file size, 480 by 360. I now need to just import it into Photoshop and then make it into an animated GIF. So this is very straightforward. I just go to File, Import frames to layers. So video frames to layers, and I navigate to the video file. So I go to Desktop here, animated GIF, and 480 by 360. So this is the correct file. I'm just going to open that, and I get this dialog box which pops up, and I can in here. So here's my video. Ignore these bars; those won't be there when I actually import this. I have a couple of options here. I can import from the beginning to end, which means I'll import the whole video. I can import a select range only, and I can trim through the video here and scroll through the video here and select a small part, like so. And then if I just OK that, it would select just that part that I've actually, I could preview here, it would select just that part and import that into Photoshop for me. In this case, I want the whole thing. I can preview it here. Now, what's the one thing to bear? I want the whole thing because I quite like this video and the way it looks. But I would show this to the students as an example. But I would very much talk to them about file sizes in that process, in the sense that this is quite a long video, and I think this is perhaps really pushing the edge of what you can think is acceptable for an animated GIF in terms of the length. And therefore file size is going to be quite a big file when I've actually worked on it. So I think I would be looking really on the whole for something rather more along these lines, kind of that type of length. This is really much longer than I would normally make an animated GIF from. So with that in mind, I'm just using this as a demonstration. And I have an option box here, make frame animation, which I definitely want clicked. And what that's going to do, it's going to take each frame of this video and make it into a layer into Photoshop. If I click OK, you'll see that happen. It might take a little bit of time, this, because it's quite a reasonable size file. Actually, no, it didn't. And here are all the layers. So every single frame, as you can see from the video, has been made into a layer, and it automatically went through that process that I've already described a couple of times in the previous videos of converting these layers into frames. So if I go ahead and play this, you can see the animations working as it should do. It's by default added a pause between each frame, which I'm going to actually get rid of just to make it select all of them here, make no delay between the frames, just to make it run a little bit smoother. But bear in mind the conversion of existing video into animated GIFs, it'll always look a little kind of jerky and a little clunky in the process within Photoshop. It'll smooth out a little bit once you make it into an animated GIF and put it into a browser, but there are some issues with different browsers and how they present the animated GIF in the browser window, and video can be a little clunky and glitch a little in that process. So there, it's hard to get an exact sense of like network. Netscape, I should say, was didn't really kind of render animated. Has never rendered animated GIFs that well. So again, there may be something to be said to talk a little bit to students about the process of previewing animated GIFs in browsers, and sometimes they can look a little clunkier than in other browsers. Chrome always, in my opinion, looks pretty good. So there's just something to say, and with video that's particularly the case. So anyway, I have all of the video frames here. Now I can go in and I'll add pauses to some of this, slow parts of the video down. I can delete frames here, of course, and edit frames out. I can also go into, if I go to the first frame, let's say here. That's the first layer. I could go in here, of course, as well. I could make I could draw onto here, and I could draw onto every single layer, and as a result, add drawn animation to the video. So that's also something that makes for another kind of layer of complexity in terms of and creative potential. That if I add video with drawn, add video and drawn animation together and start playing with what that can do. And I also have all the tools that are available to me with editing, image editing within layers, of course. So I can go in and adjust levels and curves and exposure and saturation and all those kind of things, which add lens flare. Anything that you would normally expect that you will be able to use in Photoshop is all available to add and explore within your images within the animated GIF. I'm not going to do that right now, of course. I'm just doing quite a simple run through. So as you can see, this process is very straightforward. I have all my layers in here. I have my animation working reasonably well, and I'm just now going to go to File, Save for Web, and go through the same process again. Here we go. And as you can see, it looks very jerky when I preview it within this dialog box, within this box. It won't look this jerky it shouldn't look this jerky once I've saved the animated GIF and I preview it in the browser. But again, look at this file size. So very, very different here straight away. With video, we're looking at much bigger file sizes. Here I have it's just over 9.5 megabytes. And if I reduce the colors, you can see how. And I'm trying to reduce the file size here down to 1 megabyte. Reduce the colors down to 16. And you can see what a drastic effect that has on the video. Still at 32, it's pretty clunky. 64. Still pretty clunky. So it's there's a sort of back and forth to be played with your file size, particularly if you're using video and keeping the quality of the video reasonably workable or manageable. So even here at 128 colors. The file size is 6 megabytes, so it's too large in my opinion, really, for generally for an animated GIF. And the reason why, in this case, the example I'm using is the videos. It's rather a long piece of video. Normally, I'd work with something which is much smaller, but for demonstration purposes, it shows the process anyway. So this is at 256. This is at 9 megabyte, and I'm just going to run with that as it is, and I'm going to save that as test 3. And I'm going to drop that into my browser. And so the first run, so it looks okay. And the first run around, it's generally what will happen, it'll look a little bit slower and a little bit jerky in the first run, and then it'll run a little smoother. But it's working fine. But the thing to bear in mind, I think, and talk about with students when they're using video in this way, is they do need to bear in mind that file sizes gets a bit more crucial about their file sizes, and being careful that their files don't get too large if this is going to be previewed on the browser. Okay, I think that's everything. If you have any questions, I hope this is helpful. Obviously, the videos you can go back and if you get a little lost, go back and just watch it again and just catch something you might have missed. But I'm still available if you want to grab me to talk through any aspect of this that you would like to get some help with. And this very much is a kind of touching the surface of this. A lot of the sort of creative tools that you can use in Photoshop once you've got your frames built. Obviously, I haven't talked about. And normally I would go through in a little more detail with students. But I hope this is helpful. Email me if you need any need to meet in addition to this, and I'll see you in school. Okay, cheerio.